What are a few of the most unbelievable and wildest crimes people actually committed? Such as this girl actually going after someone just to go after someone. Or what about this girl who decided to take over her Uber ride just because her driver was going too slow? Then there's this guy who actually went after and then lived with his roommate's body for months. And this guy who just loved hamsters too much. Let's find out, starting with number 7. From true crime to actual life. Jung Yoo-jung, a 23-year-old woman from Busan, South Korea, was arrested on charges of committing a brutal and senseless crime. According to police, Jung ended the life of a private tutor she had no prior connection with, driven purely by curiosity about the act of ending someone's life. Her case has drawn significant attention due to its impersonal nature and that she was apparently obsessed with true crime stories. Jung had developed a deep fascination with true crime shows, books, and online forums, where she spent considerable time researching the details of brutal crimes. Investigators revealed that her fixation led to her plot what she believed would be the perfect crime. Jung meticulously prepared by studying how to conceal a body and dismember a victim, all while posing as an ordinary person. Using an app that connects parents with tutors, Jung pretended to be a high school student in need of academic assistance. She arranged to meet a tutor at the victim's home, wearing a school uniform she had purchased online to help disguise her identity. When she gained access to the house, she went after the tutor, ending her life in a senseless act. Following the insane act, Jung attempted to clean up the scene, purchasing bleach and trash bags from a nearby store. She dismembered the victim's body and placed the remains in a suitcase, planning to dispose of them in a secluded area. However, her erratic behavior raised suspicion. A taxi driver who had driven her to the wooded area where she intended to dump the body thought the whole ride was strange, especially when she went to toss a suitcase that was stained by the contents. Understandably freaked out, he quickly alerted authorities. Police arrested Jung soon after, discovering incriminating evidence, including stained clothes and other personal items belonging to the victim. Although Jung initially claimed there had been a dispute with the tutor, she later confessed to the crime under pressure from her family and after holes appeared in her original story. As of the release of this video, the South Korean Supreme Court has given Jung a life sentence. Jung had initially appealed for a lighter punishment, but the court rejected her appeal, confirming that she'll serve life in prison, along with wearing a tracking device for 30 years. And that seems like the right choice, since her psychopathy test results also indicated a high level of detachment, scoring 28 out of 40, far above the typical threshold of concern. For reference, individuals without psychopathic traits usually score around 15 or lower. Here's an interesting finding we all should be aware of. Did you know that the people who stay friends with their ex are more likely to be psychopaths? According to research done at Oakland University by psychologists Justin Magilski and Lisa Welling, people with dark personality traits are more likely to stay in touch with their past flames. Number 6. The Impatient Rider. Neusha Alexandra Afkami, a 27-year-old woman from California, was arrested after stealing her Uber driver's car. The carjacking went down during a late-night trip to the Austin-Bergstrom International Airport in Texas. Apparently, Afkami, who had places to be and feels like she's very important, got frustrated with the speed of the ride and let her driver know it. When the Uber driver briefly exited the vehicle to retrieve their phone, because Afkami had thrown it out the window, she seized the moment and stole the car. The Uber driver was left stranded near the road and immediately called airport authorities. The police located the stolen vehicle, a 2016 Chevrolet Cruze, parked outside a terminal, and Afkami was later arrested before she could board her flight. Apparently, Afkami had used the driver's credit card at an airport store, spending around $120 on airport stuff, including a shot glass and candy. When questioned, She said that she had taken the car because she needed to reach the airport in a hurry, which doesn't exactly explain why she stole the driver's credit card and used it, but whatever. Crazy gonna crazy, right? Afkami faced charges of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle and credit card fraud. This also wasn't her first brush with the law. Public records indicate Speedy Afkami has 11 previous traffic violations. Surprise, surprise. Dating back to 2015. We're not exactly sure what the plan here, though, was. Did she think she could just drive to the airport and nothing would happen? Uber literally has all of her information, and the driver was left with his cell phone. And then she used the card at the airport. Number 5. The escape attempt. Roma Lawson, an actress of the, let's just say more sultry type, got in some serious legal trouble after a chaotic series of events. Lawson, who is under the influence of nose beers, was arrested on suspicion of driving while intoxicated after crashing her car into a van. What followed was a wild sequence of events that led to her eventual arrest and court appearance. After failing a roadside sobriety test, Lawson was placed in the back of a police car, but things quickly spiraled out of control. While being transported to the station, she quietly undid her seatbelt and, at just the right moment, leaped into the front of the vehicle, initiating a physical struggle with the officers. Though one officer grabbed her leg, she slipped free, leaving behind her pants and running through the streets half-dressed. Lawson managed to evade capture for 90 minutes, hiding at a friend's house before the police tracked her down. Even after her rearrest, she continued to resist, making repeated attempts to escape at the hospital. At one point, she lunged at an officer, biting her on the thigh, which just resulted in some bruising. The court heard that Lawson had a history of criminal behavior with 10 previous convictions. Her defense offered her chaotic lifestyle as a reason for her behavior, citing family tragedies, unstable relationships, and a long-standing nose beer problem. Despite her actions, Lawson expressed remorse and even wrote a letter to the officer she had bitten, explaining that she hadn't meant to harm her. Judge Catherine Brown handed down an 8-month suspended sentence and required Lawson to complete 20 days of probation, with the feeling that her actions were likely fueled by her loss of control while under the influence. Yeah, that's our take 2. Number 4. Not handling Vegas. Matthew John Ermond Mannix, a man from Colorado, was sentenced to serve a minimum of 19 months and maximum of 48 months in prison after a crazy incident at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. Apparently, Mannix decided he should barricade himself in a 21st floor hotel room where he then began throwing furniture out the window, which led to the evacuation of the hotel's pool area. The incident, which lasted for 5 hours, ended without serious injuries. At the time, police had responded to reports of a domestic disturbance. It was revealed that Mannix had held a woman in the room against her will and was threatening physical conflict if the police tried to enter. Both he and the woman had allegedly used some substances for several days prior to the standoff, which clearly contributed to the entire thing. In a later interview, Mannix said he didn't really remember what had happened during the event, admitting that he had been using various substances at the time. At one point, he was even seen on drone footage appearing to use a pipe, likely to continue his use of those illegal substances. Mannix ultimately pleaded guilty to felony property destruction and misdemeanor negligence. As part of the agreement, he was ordered to pay approximately $55,300 in restitution. The judge recommended that he participate in a rehabilitation program during his time in the Nevada Department of Corrections. After completing his sentence in Nevada, Mannix is expected to be extradited back to Colorado to serve time for a probation violation related to his previous unrelated kidnapping conviction. His attorney said that Mannix was remorseful and looking forward to confronting his problems. Number 3. Thwarted Carjacking. Florida woman Marvette Perry was arrested in Ormond Beach, Florida, after a failed carjacking attempt that was thwarted by a quick-thinking bystander. Apparently, Perry had approached a car parked at a gas station while the owner was stepping away to use the restroom. Without hesitation, Perry forced her way into the vehicle, which had the man's wife sitting in the passenger seat, GTA style. Speaking of GTA, here's an interesting fact about Grand Theft Auto. For GTA 5, the developers hired real gang members to voice the NPCs. Anyways, once Perry got in, the passenger quickly reacted, grabbing Perry's leg in an attempt to stop her from driving off. Meanwhile, another guy at the gas station, Adam McDaniel, who was visiting from North Carolina, happened to notice the chaotic scene. McDaniel had been pumping gas when he saw Perry acting suspiciously and, sensing trouble, retrieved his firearm from his vehicle. While he didn't fire the weapon, since the dude sounds like a responsible weapon owner, he held Perry at bay with his firearm long enough for the car owner to regain control of the situation. The police arrived shortly after, finding the car owner still holding on to Perry's leg to keep her from fleeing. Despite initially resisting arrest, she was eventually detained and taken into custody. Perry faced multiple charges, including carjacking, burglary, and resisting an officer. Perry later explained to the police that she had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and claimed that stress prompted her actions. Thankfully, no one was injured during the incident, though the situation could have easily escalated without McDaniel's intervention. As of the release of this video, Perry is still awaiting trial. Number 2. The Terrible Secret. Las Vegas resident George Anthony Bone was arrested for causing the demise of his roommate Beverly Ma. Ma's body was found decomposing in a closet, barricaded for 2 months, while Bone continued to live in the home. Bone, a registered offender of the type you'd guess, claimed he was too scared to report the passing, fearing Ma would come back to life. Police arrested him after Ma's family discovered her body during a visit to check on high air conditioning bills. Beverly Ma, a longtime friend of Bone's from high school, had moved in with him the previous summer in a house her parents owned. Despite their close relationship, their living situation ended in tragedy. Bone initially told investigators that Ma had taken her own life, but police later said her passing was more likely due to foul play. Police later found evidence of a conflict, which suggested she lost her life on the same day a frantic 911 call was placed from her phone. In that call, a man and woman could be heard yelling, with the call ending in an ominous plea. However, when officers arrived at the scene, no one responded to their knocks, and they left without further investigation, which is kind of weird, right? We're not police, and we know people have a right to privacy, but it seems to us that a call like that would be enough probable cause to break in. Anyway, Bone claimed to have discovered Ma's body that day, but rather than seeking help, he just continued living his creepy life with Ma's body decaying in the closet. Over the following months, Bone allegedly continued using Ma's finances for personal purchases. He ordered 171 items from Amazon using her account, accumulating over $10,000 in charges. He even texted people from her phone, claiming she couldn't attend social events because she wanted to avoid people and stay sober. Bone's peculiar behavior included setting the home's thermostat to 60 degrees in an attempt to reduce the number of flies in the house. This was part of his effort to manage the decay of Ma's body, which he believed could return to haunt him. When questioned, he admitted to being overly superstitious and distraught, a result of watching too many horror movies. Further investigation revealed that Ma's passing wasn't self-inflicted. Evidence pointed to trauma to her head, possibly caused by a hammer found at the scene. Bone now faces multiple charges. A grand jury indicted him after police uncovered the details of his behavior and attempts to hide the crime. As of the release of this video, Bone remains in custody and was found competent enough to stand trial. We're not exactly sure how they found him competent enough to stand trial, since the guy thinks zombies are real, but apparently he was. However, we don't think he'll be seeing the light of day for a long time. Number 1. He loved hamsters. Matthew Pancake, 31, was taken into custody after allegedly breaking into multiple stores in a Columbus, Ohio suburb. According to police reports, Pancake's bizarre spree began when he smashed the glass doors of a famous footwear store during the early morning hours. His unusual outfit, a leopard print onesie, caught attention as he was arrested. And he didn't just stop at the shoe store. Pancake also broke into a Rooster's restaurant and a nearby Petland. It was at Petland that his behavior took an even stranger turn. Officers discovered 2 hamsters stuffed in the pockets of Pancake's onesie at the time of his arrest. Police were already investigating the break-ins when they received another call about Petland. Upon arrival, they found a bunch of animals loose in the parking lot. Officers managed to round up several animals, including rabbits, birds, and puppies. The store's dog kennels had been smashed, allowing the animals to escape. Pancake's spree ended when officers found him sleeping on a bench near a Big Lots parking lot not far from the pet store. Police body cam footage captured the moment they woke him up and pulled him to the ground. Pancake, seemingly confused, questioned why he was being arrested. The officers quickly explained the situation to him. As they prepared to take him into custody, one officer noticed something moving in Pancake's pocket. To their surprise, they found the hamsters, leading to some laughter among the officers. Despite the humor, Pancake's actions were taken seriously. He was charged with vandalism and breaking and entering. Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comments section what you'd rather have: the superpower to eat any food you want without gaining weight or experiencing health issues, but all your meals cost twice as much, or be able to eat free for life, but you can only eat the same 3 meals a day.